Good afternoon. I'm Bradley McCalister, founder of Spiracraft, and it's Spiracraft Live on a Thursday afternoon. Looking for a lot of fun today. I have a great big piece here that you can't see, and looking for a big mess to happen because we're turning resin. Hey, Michael's in here. Good afternoon, Michael. So thank you to Michael for suggesting green last week. And if you don't know, I run a chroma key, and so you can't see the green piece here in front of me. But I can do this for you. I can pop you into the overhead so that you can see the piece. I've done, come on, get in there. I have done some preliminary work today to get ready because I actually spent about an hour getting this piece ready. And what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and kick in the overlays as well, because we're going to spend most of the day with those two screens, because anything from the front you won't be able to see the piece. All right, so I'm going to pop myself back up here real quick. On the front screen you still got the green there, so you can get an idea of what it looks like. Anthony's in here. It has been a long time. Good to see you. I was just talking to Bridget. I said, I gotta get that screen where I can read it easier. Let's see. Can I get the YouTube feed? Well, it should be there. Mike, I see Michael's over there on YouTube. Look in the live section. Look videos and then live. It should be there. And Joe's on YouTube. So it should pop up. It is a better feed typically than Facebook. Facebook tends to kind of drag a little bit. I'm glad to see everybody popping in. This is going to be a fun one. It's going to be messy. And like I say, you can't see it. Well, when I see now, I'm looking at the monitor. When I lean up close to it, you can see a little bit of the gray. You can see the shape against my black jacket. It's just gray is all that. The other two cameras don't have the chroma key on them, so that's why we can see it. Any word on Syracuse Wood Show? Anthony, I don't know about the wood shows. We're not going out. Spiracraft is not going out this year to the wood shows. And Syracuse, I seriously doubt that they would go to Syracuse. They've never gone there before that I'm aware of. And you know, hopefully they can get it together and get out there for folks. We'll see what happens. Brian Schwab, good to see you. It's been a while. Great to have you back. Looking forward to you enjoying this. So I did, like I said, I did a little prep work on this morning, trying to get things kind of trued up. And I haven't made a tendon yet, which is we're going to make here. The piece is sort of true, but not great. And I did go ahead and drill. I've got an 1.5 inch hole here on what will be the top of the piece. And I wish, it's the only thing I wish I could talk about the shape a little bit more. And I'm going to, there's some design considerations in this project. And it kind of comes with the nature of this hybrid piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop into, you don't need to see me that much anyway. So let me put you into 5. And you can see the top now and the overhead and the end. Design consideration. So this thing, where's my tape measure? This thing is about 7.5 inches long right now. So by the time we make a tenon, you know, we'll be down around 7 1/8 or so, give or take. And once we get that trued up, because that's not perfect, the bottom's not perfectly true. So we'll probably be 7 inches tall, somewhere in there. And we are about 8 inches right now in diameter, but it's not anywhere close to true. If I turn it on here, let you see it spin, you know, it's not too far away from being true, but it's not perfect. All right, and so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make this tenon down here and get this thing turned back around into a chuck. But So here's the thing that happens with a piece like this. So if you remember, as we were going along developing it, we stabilized it and then we cast it. So we've got this really strange, chunky, lunky pump of burl in there, and we want to highlight the burl in there that's inside the casting. So trying to come up with a pleasing shape of the piece, following, let's say, the golden rule, golden ratio for a profile, may not give us the best looking piece as far as utilization of the burl in the casting. So it's going to be one of those kind of hunt and peck and come up with the shape, because we want to expose as much as the burl as is reasonably possible. Now I know for a fact, from memory and all, that down here in the lower section, there's only one side of it that's very close. The other side is pretty heavy resin. Most of the burl we're going to see is going to be from about the third section, from the top third over, going around, and this is the top here. So in this case, we're just going to kind of have to play with the shape to see what's going to work best for the wood and the resin that's in there. So we can't necessarily follow those guidelines. You could easily follow the golden rule and the golden ratio and have a nice piece, but you might not see as much of the wood as you might want to, if that makes any sense. And so while I'm not on the front camera, I'm going to look over here at the screen, and I see my wife is in here. Hey, Bridget, thanks for joining. Let's see. A new dating online. Well, we got a troll. All right. I don't know how to get rid of the troll, but oh well. Do you want me to make me a moderator so I can deal with these spammers? Michael, I would love to. We'll have to do it. I don't know how to get into YouTube right now and do it. It's over my head because I haven't worked with YouTube enough, Mike. So I don't know the short answer on how I can jump in there and make you a moderator. I can try if nobody minds the slight delay in the program. I'll jump in there and see if I can do it. If you know the shortcut to do it, Mike, an easy way, tell me that you can tell me to do it, I will jump in there. I'll run over into the control room and pull up YouTube and see if I can make you a moderator, and you can take care of that. Let me take a look real quick, if you guys don't mind. I'll walk in here in the control room, and let me get on a fast computer. And Mike, I can still see you on the computer that's got the comments in it. So I need to open up a different browser. Let me see. I'm curious about this anyway. I love doing things on the fly, right? That I don't normally do. This is not open to that account normally. Let's try this one. The computer's in the office that jump right on it and get me where I need to be. Hang on just a second. Let's see if I can get there. Let's see if I don't max out this computer. And see if I'm in the right account. But if they're gone and they're not going to be around. Let's see here. Again, other than having things in YouTube, I'm not super adept at it. So yeah, I know you moderate for them, but you don't know how they set it up. Let's see here. I've actually got the feed up in here. Let me see. No, I don't want to learn more about that. Sorry for taking a little bit of time here, and if the spammers stay away, then we won't worry about it too much. Let me do something here. Add moderator. Michael, you are now a moderator on the YouTube channel. All right, so we got you as a moderator, Michael. See, if that popped up, I just added you. It said make you a moderator, and so we did. All right, and I'm going to go back to my other feed. Okay, so much for that. Hopefully that works out. Go rip them a new one, Mike. All righty. Don't you love the internet and how it all works? So let me pop back up here for a minute. Just so I can, talk to you again before we get going. So you can't see the piece, but you can see it here on the side. And now that we've dealt with our spammers and all that good stuff, I'm going to use 99.9% Easy Wood tools with the negative rate cutters. And I actually have 5 tools out here that are going to be my main tools today. And these are all mid-size Easy Wood tools. This is the finisher. It's got the round cutter. I put fresh negative rate cutters on all these. These negative rate cutters are so easy to use. So I've got the round cutter or the finisher. I've got the square cutter, or they call the rougher, which has a radius negative rate cutter on it. I have the detailer, which has a small diamond-shaped cutter to it. And I should pop these in the overhead and show you for those. I'm sure everybody's familiar with these. I'm not going to do that. And then I have the #1 hollower. It's got the small end. And then I have the mid-size micro detailer, which has the long, pointy guy on there. So those are the 5 main tools I'm going to work with. My sharpening station still isn't really great, but I did kind of throw an edge on a couple of conventional tools. And at some point today, we'll play with that a little bit. You can turn resin with a conventional tool. It's a little bit harder, it's a little bit slower, and you definitely have to pay more attention. The carbide tools with the negative rate cutters, they make it where you can be fearless, is the best way to put it. Okay, so first thing I've got to do is put a tenon down on the far end here. And I've got this in the Easy Chuck with the jaws, and it does not sit flat here. So I also have on the end here a rubber chucky cone. And what I did is I drilled an 1.5 inch hole in the other end up in here, and when we get the tenon on and I flip it over, this rubber chucky cone is going to go in that hole, that 1.5 inch hole, to help stabilize the other end. Okay, so let's get that thing off of there. We'll be putting it in a Supernova 2 chuck. Got that set up, ready to go. We've got our caliper set for our tenon diameter. I drilled the hole with a 1.5 inch Forstner bit that's hiding in here. This is a Colt bit. You can't get these anymore, but I've got them around because we used to carry them. So cool beans. Also, I have a whole fresh can of denatured alcohol to be able to show you this piece as we go along. Now, I'm not going to hollow this today. It's going to take a while just to get this thing in shape. All right. So let's go ahead and kind of get rolling here. I'm going to set this up with the overhead and end, and I'm trying to think which will be best first. Probably, I think I'm gonna flip this. Do this. That's going to be a better view for you because we're going to be working here initially. Rich made it. What'd you say? You got to stop using green, Bradley. It messes with the screen. So, Rich, you know who to take that up with. He happens to be talking there right with you and saying, hey, we had a good laugh about it. But, yep, got to stop using green. Or I need to go to a blue screen. But then I'd have a blue piece. I could do black screen. You can actually chroma key any color. So I am getting out my safety goggles to be safe. I am going to end up covered in streamers. I do have a fan over here blowing. So if you see the streamers going that way, it's because there's a fan blowing a breeze. Also, I'm on a brand new microphone, so after last week's brand new microphone didn't work at all, this is another brand new microphone that seems to be working well. I did test it. It sounded okay, so I think we're all good there. Hopefully I don't break the wire before too terribly, right away. All right. Being in these jaws, I don't want to turn more than about 6.5 or 600. And we're going to start out with a round cutter and set our tool rest to approximately the center. And this cone is pretty cool. This is, like I say, a rubber chucky cone, and it threads onto, this is an Easy Wood live center, the threaded live center. So you can screw it right on there. So we're set there. Got our height right. Turn it by hand, make sure it's clear. Let's see, off we go. Oh, I changed the speed from earlier. Let me get back up to where I should be. I actually had something vibrate off the lathe earlier, and it hit, couldn't believe it or not, it hit the stop button and shut me down, and I thought something had broken all of a sudden. Let's see, we're going to go for about 600. Fast enough to be productive without being dangerous. So we're about 620 or so right there. All right. Now theoretically, I have the camera focus locked in, tool on the tool rest, and I'm going to zip up, try and stay, keep some of this out of me. So we have to make a tenon, so we've got to flatten this out and take away a bunch of material. And I'll start out here, then I'll move the tool rest in. Now I sent a text to Doug Dixon, the sales manager of Easy Wood Tools, just about a half an hour ago, and told him he needed to come in here and join us today, since we're working with Easy Wood Tools so much here. So if Doug pops in and I don't notice him, tell him I said hey, and thanks for coming. All right, so that kind of gets our end round there. And these negative rate cutters are also, this Manzanita is hard. I'll show you on the other end. I had to clean it up and there was part that stuck out. And I had to kind of get that cleaned up, and this stuff is hard. Plus, with the stabilizing resin, the little bit that it took in it, it really makes it nice and hard. Okay, I'm going to stop and move my tool rest here. Check the talk board and see what's going on. Yes, I agree with Michael. I think it's going to be an awesome piece when it's finished. So I'm kind of moving the tool rest around to where I can get in here a little bit closer. All right, and now this cone is flat, so it doesn't protrude in. So I can, that'll just be in the middle of what will be the tenon. So I'm just going to kind of come in here and flatten that out. And then all this is going to get turned away. But this is the reason I have the mid-size micro, so that I can reach right up in here and get right up to the cone. And if I hit the cone, it doesn't ruin a brand new cutter, because it's just nice soft silicone. Okay, that's what's really cool about that tool. You can sneak right into something and do detail work and not worry about hurting it. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get serious here. Take a look at this guy. I'm going to reach over from this direction and get my calipers. I'm old school. I just like to use calipers. And where is my tool that I want to use? I can't do this exactly the way the piece will not stay in these bumpers by itself. So we have to keep something on the end here. Looks like just a little bit smaller, and that's kind of bumpy, so I'm going to come in here with the point again, use this guy. Make myself a spot that's really easy to see with my calipers. Pardon my hand there, my arm reaching across. I even have a compressor finally hooked up to where I can blow some of this stuff away. And now Joe, I can remember Joe had a trick for keeping streamers away. I don't remember what Joe's trick was. Okay, I think that's pretty good right there. All right. So I'm actually going to take the round cutter, come back in here and take some of this material away outside here. Then we'll double check it all again. I do wish Easy Wood would make a square negative rate cutter. It would make making these tenons easier. As you can see, we've got a lot of material today to get rid of. So we're going to be here for a while. I'll lean on it as hard as I can. Plastic bristle brush, that's right, Joe. Next time I'll have a plastic bristle brush. And take a quick look here. You can see this is just, we've got some vibration going on, which is not to be unexpected because of the way it's in that other piece down here at the far end. And I'm going to double check before I get too far along that I'm happy with my tenon. So I'm right on the money there for the size of my tenon. I'm pleased with that. Okay, good deal. Toothbrush, but not Bridget's. Hey, you know, actually I might have, while we're stopped here, in the infamous drawer, as you say that, I just happen to have a toothbrush or 6 around. I'll grab the one that doesn't have green on it. And we'll test. It's not a big one, Joe, but we'll test it and see how it does for us. Just kind of out of curiosity. Hey, that works great. Joe's the man. So we got our toothbrush here for cleaning off streamers. All right, let's move some material here. I said this is a lot of resin, but it was the only way we could, without making a custom mold for the shape of this piece of wood. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of work. Tighten that up. Make sure everything's snug. Just going to have to deal with that vibration a little bit. And I could actually come out here and just take all this material away, and I might do that just to take some mass out of this. Let's stop real quick here. And we're going to come right in this corner. And so you can see in the just barely you can see in my overhead, but you can see on the front one there. And I'm going to take some mass out of this corner because this all has to go away anyhow. All right. So let's get in here. Saw that move. And you'll always get that chirping until it gets round. And there's a fine line of how hard I can lean on this. I'm actually heating this tool up pretty good. I may end up having to change tools because the shaft is getting hot. I wouldn't dare use your toothbrush, dear. You have the electric one. I'd have to buy new batteries for it. Now we also know that the burl does go down to the bottom of the bucket somewhere. It will start to appear down here at some point in time. Let's see how she's looking in there. It's like a little fleck of wood there. Maybe just a piece of bark that had fallen off or something. Let's move our tool rest in here, keep the flex of the shaft to a minimum. I'm really curious to see what shape I'll end up with today when this is all said and done. And all this material that we're working on is really still just tenon material that we have to get rid of. How, you know, Joe, what would be good? A bigger brush would be good for cleaning off the control box too, because it's getting completely covered. Maybe I'm just going to move the control box over here. My problem is I always lean into it when I do that, so I've moved the control box over here. All right, we'll just keep right on charging here. We're making headway. I know there's a lot of different ways to go about this. You know, some people they like to glue these to a glue block and things like that. You know, everybody's got their way, and there's no one way that's the best way. You know, coming as a bowl turner, my brain tells me to make a 10, and I don't even think about doing something different. So that's just kind of how I go, and I'm a little high with this tool. I'm going to lower that tool rest just a fuzz. Don't know how it climbed up there. Then I don't know if you can hear the difference. I get less vibration, I say, when I push in towards the center. Because again, this rubber right here is just pushing up against it, and it's soft. I don't have anything that's got teeth in it going in there. When I pull out, I tend to get more vibration. When I push in, and since we don't have any grain, I say that and there's vibration going in that way now. I did see what the wood looks like. There's wood. Now we're finally see our first bits of wood. It is beautiful. On the top, I've already got it exposed some, and I put the denatured alcohol on it, and it looks awesome. Okay, so let's back up here because we're getting close to our tenon size. So I switched over to what is the square, radius tool. And this tool, the size of this cutter, matches the length of my tenon that I want. Okay? And I don't want to take too much away and not have a shoulder for my jaws to sit on. And if I've taken too much away, well, then I'll have to come back and change the angle of this tool rest and shorten the tenon up. Can't quite get, but again, I need to dovetail anyway, so that's all good. Again, with this being a radius cutter, you don't really get the corner you want, and with the tail stock in the way, it makes it even a bit more challenging. Okay, so I'm going to change angles again, come back in with the I'm going to actually use, pardon my arm, I'm going to not use the big pointy guy, the long one. I'm going to use the shorter standard detailer and start to cut myself a flat. Because I need a dovetail profile. Where's my toothbrush? Where's my toothbrush, gang? Here it is, over here. Boy, that's awesome. Joe, you are the man. I'm going to send you something in the mail for free for the tip. Of course, I just dropped it. Maybe that's something I should make as a regular feature of Spiracraft Live. If you give me a tip that I use that works out to be super cool, Spiracraft sends you something, some freebie swag, something in the mail. Oh, Michael, you got the micro tool set. Those things are fun. I got to take my mask off for a second. Those things are fun, and shake it out, because you can make, like doing resin bottle stoppers. If you put the negative rakes on, you can do some really cool stuff. Pardon me blowing, hearing the air blow there. All right, back where we were. Starting to cut that 10-degree dovetail, approximately 10 degrees. I don't put a gauge on it and check it, okay? Take a look and see what we got going on there. All right, so like I said, the wood here's wood going all the way around there. No, or is that just dust? That's just dust. I was getting excited there for a second. All right. I'm going to use this other tool as my gauge, and I can still go a little bit deeper, which is cool. So what I'll do, I'll make another cut coming in here and kind of gauge, and I'm getting close to the length of the tenon I want. And you see I keep cleaning it off because I don't want to overcut and have my tenon be too long, because we want our jaws to sit on the flat bottom and we don't want this to touch. Okay, and if I can clean this up. It's a little out of true, so let's clean that up while we're here. Having a good tenon is key to holding your piece. Because you need a good solid grip. Alright, and now I'm going to take the detail tool again. I'm trying to keep from getting my arm in the way of the shot. And flatten this corner out. Because it's got a little, I've got a little lift in it still. And like I say, if I have to take my tenon down a little bit, I will. But this is, all I need is a nice surface right here for my shoulder, okay? And I've got a nice surface there now that doesn't go up. And I'll work on this corner. This is where you run into trouble with the radius cutters, because you can't get a square cut. You kind of have to make your own corner here, okay, and not get too long. That looks pretty good. I could go a fuzz more if I wanted to. I think I'll make just a little larger flat spot here, just for surface area. I mean, the jaws aren't that wide. So I'm reaching down in there with that very point to keep my dovetail going. Then I'll come back and clean up the dovetail this way. Okay. Alright, and so there we go. There's our recess. There's our jaws, will fit right on that, he says. I guess I have just become a pin turner. I haven't turned one of those yet. It's only been 12, 14 years or whatever. Don't know if I'll ever get around to making a pin. Alright, we're happy with our tenon. It's a little late now, but we're right where we want to be. We should have a nice grip with almost a perfect circle on our jaws. So, more material off of here. This, let's see. Let me think about this. I'm going to take a little bit more out of here just because when I put it in the chuck, this will be in the way. I'm thinking that typically, you know, I worry about grain direction, and it's easier to carve from the inside out downhill in wood, but we don't have any. This wood is burl, and its grain goes every direction, so that's really not going to be an issue. So I think we'll just take some mass out of here, right in here, some of this out, and then we'll flip this guy around, and it should be more solid when we get it flipped around. So let me take a little bit more out of here. Sorry for the arm reach there on the end camera. Because what I don't know is if I'm going to end up with a classic holoform shape, or if I'm going to end up with a vase today. Alright, good deal. I'm going to show you real quick, since I stopped. And I think I may just go ahead and turn this around now. I'll take my mask off and I'm going to hang it way over here. Show you the end of this just so you get an idea of what this thing kind of this stuff looks like. We'll just flood it with denatured alcohol. So the resin and the pearl is great. The burl is beautiful. Got a great looking burl to it, and we got all kind of burl up in here. If you remember how crazy this thing is. So God only knows what we're going to get into. So let's go ahead and turn this thing around and trying to get some of this off of me. And I'll change the camera around in a second. Okay. We'll leave that there. That gets me up there. Give me a chance to clean some of this off. And I know you can't see the piece itself, but you can see the procedure, what's going to go on here. Place is going to be a mess when I get done today. Like I say, this is just kind of barely hanging in there. All right. Get out of the way. And here in the overhead, you can see what I did there before. I flattened that off. That's how much was sticking out of the top that I had. I turned 99% of that away and then just did a little sanding. And then this is where I drilled that with the 1.5" Forstner bit. So that this little cone, which you can't quite see now, here, this little, oh, it's out of the picture too there. Anyway, that cone is going to go in that hole and stabilize the far end for us. All right, so let's change things around here. It's so nice for me to be back out here in the studio. I missed most of the summer out here, but I am having a ball. I'm glad you guys are here with me. So that was the Easy Chuck with the big easy jaws on it. Okay. Of course, today, and I actually, I filmed the preliminary work this morning with the system. So I'll probably throw out a little video later on of what I did to get to this point here. Okay. Supernova. Nova Chucks are on sale right now. They're having a big sale. Cool deal. If you're on the mailing list for Spiracraft, you've been getting an email or two a week from me. I've been running specials on all kinds of stuff. And of course, if you're not familiar with Spiracraft and this first time, everything virtually, except the rubber chucky that I use here, you can get on Spiracraft. We'd be happy to supply you. So I have here my perfect jaw gap. Let me pop into overhead. You can see the gap here is maybe 1/8 of an inch. So that gets me as close to the perfect circle as possible. Rich says it's so shiny. Yeah, that's that new nickel plating you guys have that doesn't lose its luster. So that looks pretty good. And I'm just going to loosen this back up and push it under just to make sure. And I have it's really nice contact over back here. I don't have the end camera. Nice contact, and I've got about 3/8 of an inch of shoulder. So I won't have to get right up to the chuck anytime soon. What, you got plenty of Nova Chucks, Michael? I think Jeff Hornung said he has like 27, 25 or 27. I think that's more than enough. I can't talk. I had 14 lathes at one time. All right, so we got that nice and snug. And you can see in the end, let's see if my plan works. So the cone goes right in there. And I'm gonna back this in. I want as little vibration and flex, so I'm gonna wind the tailstock in as far as I can. That's as far as I can go. Because I want as little vibration as possible. All right. Let's see how this guy does for speed. I'd like to turn at 1,000, and we will eventually turn at 1,000, even though it's a pretty good sized piece. So what was it? This must weigh 812. So it weighed about 16 pounds when I started. Oh yeah. There's 600, 700. 800, 750. If I get to 8 without any serious vibration, I'll stop there. There's 800, not too bad. The lathe is pretty smooth. Okay, that'll help our cutting. All right. All right, time to go to work. And in the end camera, let me show you what this wood looks like. Pop you to the end. Ooh, and then I reach a course across. I want to give you a preview of what we've got coming at us. Now that is the very, very top, and this is going to get rounded over, but this was above the resin pour. This crack right here, if it looks black to you, it doesn't have any resin in it. And that was actually above the resin line, or right at the resin line. Okay. All right. Good deal. Let's go back to overhead and end. We don't need me in the picture. And so it looks like, there we go. Overhead and end. That shot look good to you guys? I'm looking at the Facebook feed. That looks pretty good. So let's get this guy true. Just for speed, so we'll work on getting it round and smooth. Oh, I just finished my shop remodel. I don't want to start over. What's that? Jump up to 3,000. Yeah, you're right. I don't want to remodel it again. I don't want to. Matter of fact, I'm on the low setting on the belt, so I can't hit $3,000 anyway. So that's good. Now, carbide is sharp and it's hard and it stays sharp for a long time, but it doesn't stay sharp forever. And we have already worked with this a little bit. And I'm going to actually take a moment. And before I've lost all the wrenches, I'm going to rotate this cutter ever so slightly already, because I just want to keep a super fresh edge. Okay, just ever so slightly, even though I kind of work I got a wrench in my mouth. I kind of work all around it, so I don't know that it really matters, but you use the tip mostly. So I'm just going to give this like a quarter of a turn, just so the tip is a little bit fresher, and I'll keep rotating left. Always tighten it with the short stem. And I'm going to put that wrench in my pocket because everything is going to get lost if this of any small size in all the resin stream in here. Okay. Let me take a quick sip. and put my mask on, and we'll go back to making a mess. I think I might turn my heater down too. It's nice having heat and air and with insulation now. I'm not out here freezing because it was cool up here or down here in Georgia, and it's hot in summers. Now that I'm insulated in my new remodeled shop, I'm very comfortable. Okay, here we go. That looks about right. We're going to get right up on this guy. Turn it by hand, make sure it doesn't hit. Make sure everything is tight. We're going to snug this thing up just as much as we can. Put some preload on our rubber chucky. Looks like the focus is doing okay, kind of hanging in there. That's a good thing, I say. All right, 800 RPM. Let's work our way up this guy. And just so you know, I am standing back over here. So it's when I'm working, I'm standing over here. It's kind of chippy coming off. So I'm not standing right here like this, putting myself right in the middle of it. There we go. Just so you know, I'm standing back over here out of the way. I don't know how loud it is coming through the microphone, but it's really loud in here. When all that shine goes away, you'll know pretty much that you're there as far as being smooth. Plus the noise it'll get much quieter, and we'll start to get the ribbons like that. Let's take a look at it and see what we got going on, just for yucks. The tool's getting hot too. Yeah. Got a little chip out, hopefully, because this old resin had been around a while. Hopefully that won't be a problem as we go along. That would be a drag. It was a big pour. So I'll start to take mass out of this, because it's pretty much round now. And we're going to go on we're still going to go with roughly the thirds. Man, I'm covered up with this stuff. So I'm not going to use a measure. I'm just going to say right about there, give or take. And this is where we're going to break and roll back towards the top. You see that line right there? switch over here. Actually, I'm going to change the orientation altogether and come over here like this. Okay, crawled up. My tool rest crawled up again a little bit. Lay that back down. I think I'll switch the cameras here for you and show you the end there and overlay the top, since I'm going to be working up here on the top a little bit. Okay. Always want to give you the best view. That's what these cameras are for. Now, one thing I'll say about, you know, that texture, that what looks like it's chipping out there. When I came out to check the pressure on the pressure pot, when this was exothermic at its peak, I almost couldn't put my hands or keep my hand on the side of the pressure pot. It was so hot, and I knew it would be hot because that was a whole gallon and a half. It's truly a deep pour, and there was a lot of heat going on, which can, you know, make the resin a little brittle. And so, you know, we'll have to see if we just have to work with that. I'm also going to turn up my fan speed here for a little bit better breeze. Again, my goal here is to highlight the burl as much as possible when it comes to the shape. I don't want an ugly shape, but I want as much burl highlighted as possible. And the resin is, although it's a great resin color and the swirls and the pearl, the resin is secondary. Jeff Peters, must be lunchtime. How you doing, bud? Jeff, be glad you're not in what, Buffalo, where they're supposed to get 3 to 5 feet of snow. I don't know if you're ready for that much winter yet. Now the camera's, I'm looking up at the monitor while I'm cutting, and the camera's looking pretty clear. It's a little dusty. Resin can be dusty. That's why I have the fan also going. Let's take a look at what we've got showing up, starting to emerge. So our wood is starting to come out more. All right. Coming around the corner. And you can see the chip out here, the brittle chip out, but I'm not getting it when I come this way. So it's a matter of holding my tongue just right. But this is looking good. Ow. Don't touch the end of that tool, Bradley. It's hot. I'm going to make sure that cutter's still tight. You hear that little screech. The screw was a little loose in the cutter. Hey, Roy. Good to see you. Yeah, that time zone thing will get you. Gets me every time. Hope you're doing well, Roy. I'm shaking out, guys. I'm shaking chips, when I take my goggles off, my face shield, the chips come off my head and fill up the face shield goggles. All right. Rich, I'm going to end up needing 2 of these tools because this tool shaft is getting hot. I did actually bring in cutters for the full size. I wasn't sure if I wanted to use them. I prefer the mid-size Easy Wood tools, but I did bring in negative rate cutters for the full size tools, which I have over on the rack. So I'm going to stop and move my tool rest all the way up into the middle here, because I want to come from right in here, right at the cone, right at the hole. Just a little high with my curve. Just finished your pine cone and resin bowl. Cool. Well, post pictures of it in the group, Roy. Let's stick it in the group and show us what you made. It is pretty nice here. Just so you can see. I see it in the, again, I actually bumped up against the silicone, and it does, it doesn't hurt the cutter. So that's really nice. We're shaking everything around the house. I'm going to move my tool rest a little bit. So Rich, when my nebula comes, I won't get that headstock vibration, will I? I wish I'd have had another one on order with you. Would have helped that person out today. See if my cone is loosened up at all. I can smell the burl more. You can see the smoke coming off there. At least you hope not, yeah. So again, I'm just working up to this line, this theoretical line where the turn is going to be. This guy's kind of short for its diameter. So we'll see what we come up with. So now I'm starting to look over here to look at the curve, whether I keep the curve as it is or not. But I want to keep it as close to uniform and on the same radius as I go as possible. And it's just good practice for tool control. So I'm watching over here. The tool's cutting here. I'm watching over here on the opposite side. And I'm looking at my tabletop and the shavings over there. So I've got pretty good contrast. Let's see here what we got going on. All right. So we've got more of the burl starting to show up right out here on the corner. So there's a general shape starting to work out here. Well, let's go ahead and start to taper down the side here. So we're going to work back and forth. So I'm going to swap the camera views for you. And I'm going to clean myself off just a little bit. I've actually got my air hose in here today. I may open it. It's a little smoky in here, if you will. I may open my door for a few minutes, let some of this out. It's kind of hard to talk with the heavy-duty respirator on. And it's pretty nice. It's getting nice out. So we'll let some of that resin and wood smoke out of here. Let's take a look while that's clearing. I'm going to reach over here. Take a look at what this looks like. Take our denatured alcohol. Hey, there's my dad. Been to the doctor place. Yeah, I get it. I know how that goes. That is pretty wood. And we still have an opening in our crack, which, depending on how I empty out or how I hollow out what I do here, there's resin right there. But not quite right there, which gives it, gives it some organicness. If it stays together, I'm not worried about that. All right, so let's come over here and work on taking this away. So I was going to program 5 and overlay 7, middle and top. So you guys take some of the streamers out of the way. I finally got smart, and the compressor is over in the next building. So when it comes on, when I spray things off, and it comes on, it doesn't annoy us. And the other thing though is I polyurethane the floor here on the remodel, and these ribbons of resin are make it pretty slippery. All right, here we go. We'll stop talking. Let's do a quick rotate of our tip again, just for fun. And I happen to reaching over. I have my, speaking of my dad, my favorite ice pick that my dad gave me a long time ago. Clean out that screw hole, and we're going to give this cutter just a little teeny rotate. It was also nice to kind of let the tool shaft cool down a little bit as well. It was getting hot. Okay, cool beans, off we go. Make sure the height's in good shape. Now we're a little low. Never can seem to win that one. You know what, let me check one more thing. Yeah, I can't imagine that it came loose, but anything is possible in this world. The chuck is loosened up at all. It shouldn't have. Nope, everything pretty snug there. All right, off we go. Vibrations and all. Chris Parker, thanks for dropping in. We are having a ball making resin ribbons today. Chris, I don't know if you've been following this project or not, but it's a big old, well, I say big old, it's a Manzanita Root Burl in there. It's a pretty good chunk. Cast into the Spiracraft epoxy. Can't see. See what happens when we come back the other way. This is where you need somebody with that bristle brush, a big one though, wiping your head off, wiping your face shield clear. Again, our goal is to expose as much of this burl as we can. And I know there's one good full side hiding in the resin here. And one side will be all resin and one side should be a lot of burl. And so that's kind of what I'm using as my gauge. I don't think we've hit any of the burl. We're starting to show a little burl here now. So one side, like over here might be all resin, and then this side might be the burly side, the wood side. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. I got a hat. I got a ribbon hat on. I'm not even going to bother to show you guys. You've seen it before. Oh, that tool is hot. This is one of those hybrid resin casts where you end up throwing about 50% of the resin away. Scott Hampton, you're in here. Yeah, good to see you. I'm glad you've been looking forward to this one. I know you're a resin man. Just out of curiosity, let's take a look, see what we're starting to see. It's showing up there. At least our chip out is starting to fade away. Let's get rid of this up in here. The other thing about turning a lot of resin like this, you know, my face shield gets completely covered and you can't really see what you're doing, and you have to stop and wipe it off. Those of you who do a lot of resin know that. If you're new to it, be ready for it. You know, when you think about it, we've got epoxy resin, stabilizing resin, and the burl itself. So we've got a lot of different things going on in here, texture-wise, and in here, in the studio, smell-wise. Stop and take a look, see how it's looking, what's showing up. So this is obviously the side that's going to get us the most of the burl. This is probably going to, we got burl here and we've got burl wood here, resin there and resin there. So we'll see how it rolls. Just slowly keep working my way down through here, taking this excess material away. I can smell the wood. Too bad we don't have smell-o-stream vision here, where you can smell the difference as it's cutting the wood. So I'm going to be daring here because that tool is really hot, and I said I would play with a conventional tool. So we'll see what kind of cut we can get, if it's disastrous or if it works well. I'm going to let that Easy Wood tool cool off because it's getting hot. So this is a Carter & Son 1/2-inch bowl gouge. Got kind of a short bevel on it. It may or may not be overly conducive. It is aggressive. I can tell it's chipping it out, but it is removing a lot of material. And I doubt that if I go uphill it's going to be any different. Because this piece of resin is pretty brittle, so it doesn't like that particularly. I mean, it moves a lot of material, but I can tell, there's no ribbons, it's just chips. Oh, can't use that one. Like I said, this piece of resin got really hot. Nah, it's not going to like that. You can see when I stop it, you'll see that it moves a lot of material, but this piece of resin is apparently pretty brittle, and it just doesn't quite like that. Now, you could try scraping with it and see what you get. And it's a little less aggressive. Because we're scraping with the carbide. And the whole point of showing you this is that if you don't have carbide tools, it doesn't mean that you can't do any hybrid turning. Again, this piece of resin, because it got so hot, is not the best example. Go back to, I can't quite read that, high-speed steel when you get to more burl. I don't know how much more burl we're going to get to be quite honest. Because it's always going to be a pretty heavy mix. I just wanted to see if I could clean up the mess I made. Alright, my other tool's probably cool. That will work. I just hit it on the grinder really quick earlier. It may not have the greatest edge on it. That's an interesting color. I'm looking at the Facebook feed anyway. It looks like a psychedelic color in there. Yeah, it would really close the flute, Joe, you're right. This, like I said, this piece of resin is really brittle, chippy anyway. see what that, I know that's exposing more wood. Yep. And just in case you wanted to know what my world is looking like, in case you're not familiar with, you end up looking like this trying to see something. You get all this stuff. You get a hat going. So, enough of that though. Let's go back to what's important. Can you use the coring rig on resin? You know, Jeff, I don't know. I thought about that concept. Can you or can you not? And honestly, I'm not 100% sure. It's something that I haven't tried yet. Yeah, this camera, it does have a good video. Thank you. I'm pleased with them. You know, I made a lot of noise about getting these nice PTZ cameras, and I'm pleased with it. The end one, it does a weird flicker, especially when I zoom it in tight. We're not, I say we, meaning myself and the company I bought it from. What I found is I was leaving them, you know, they just run on the Ethernet, and I was leaving them plugged in all the time, and that one, you know, maybe it's getting hot. So I unplug them when I'm off. Starting to look like Bumble from Rudolph. Yeah, and so Joe, you have tried it. Kind of hypnotic colors, even, you know, looking at this in person, spinning around there. Just looking to see, you know, I'm going to keep going and taper this down some more. This is pretty, you know, dimension-wise, this is pretty big up here. Right now the proportions aren't bad, but we want to show more wood if we can, so I'm going to take it down some more, whether it's good or bad, just to see if we can. I mean, I love these fissures of all these cracks in the burl. I haven't seen, knock on the resin, any huge voids, just some small ones in here. Because this is hollow. This was hollow all the way down through the middle, if you remember. All right. Oh, let's just for fun, I'm going to switch over because we've got kind of our shape now. The radius square style tool, it actually helps you clean up and get a better finish than the round cutters do. And you can cut with the very center like I'm doing now. You can cut, if you need to move more material, you can cut with the corner. But this will start taking out your scallops from the round cutter. So you can see we're getting a little bounce there. Now I know that we can sand that out. We'd rather not have it. Again, I have a rubber cone in here, which could be leading to some of that. And let's try going downhill with it. Sometimes you have to experiment. And the other thing is, so I just dropped in and let the leading corner do the cutting instead of the center of it. And I'm not getting the bounce of the vibration. So I'm just cutting with the very, very corner of this radius square cutter. The problem is, the hard part is controlling your depth. So you see we have much less chatter by doing that. And again, I was just using the very corner of the cutter to make that cut. Again, the hard part is not overcutting with it, because it tends to kind of self-feed a little bit. I'm also going to have to change hands because I'm in my own way. So I'm intentionally taking a little bit heavier cut there. I have to stop so I can see. I'm going to lighten that up and come back and pick it up. That's the beauty of this, and the fun part to me. So the manufacturer makes a tool and they call it an XYZ, and that you're supposed to do ABC with it or whatever. And if you will experiment with how you use a tool, and that goes for any tool, I'm going to have to clean myself off a little bit. I'm going to leave it right here, but I'm going to clean myself off and talk because I can't see. Experimenting with a tool, just because they made it to do one thing doesn't mean that you can't change the approach and do different things with them. And sometimes it's a huge disaster, and other times you get something really cool out of it. And I think while I'm taking a mask off break, we're going to wipe this down with our denatured alcohol, because I got this stuff all over. Hard to believe, but it's true that even with the face shield and goggles on, you get it in your eyes, or not in my eyes, but in my glasses, in my face. All right, so let's wet this guy down. It's got a lot of character in there. I mean, part of me says I want to see more wood. You know what I'm saying? And you can see the color of the wood coming off of the rag there. I think we'll take a little more. We'll see what exposes, what comes out. Yeah, it's looking cool. It's looking good. I'm gonna keep taking some more out of this. Then I'm gonna come up to the top and do the same. What time is it? It's 2:30. All right, 2:36. So I've got about 20 minutes to keep this at 2 hours. And we're in the realm, the vicinity where this is probably going to end up, somewhere plus or minus a little bit. Let's try going uphill with the corner. Little vibration right there. So you notice I've slowed the feed way down, which will give us a better cut, a better finish, especially with a little bit of vibration going on. bounce right there. You could feel it picking up a bounce. So we'll try and just kind of ease in here, pick that cut up. Be a little more gentle with it. We'll just kind of head around the corner since we're there. Roy, this is the negative rake radius, square radius. So yes, it's the square with the rounded corners and a negative rake profile on it. So there's a hump down in there that we'll take care of. Let's come around the top end here and see what we can do with this. We haven't worked on the top for a while, so let's flip our view. And we'll feature the top and inset the side. Check that I'm still pretty good in the center. Right up against the silicone, which is nice. Don't have to worry about it hurting anything. We'll make a first pass, and we'll come back and make a couple more light passes. This first pass, kind of sort of using the center of the cutter and getting most of the round cutter marks out. And you do want to stop and clear it out so you can see. And this rolls nicely across around that corner. So if we want to radius this corner off, we can come right around here and take the edge off of that. Blend that in real nice. Let's go back up here to the top. Take a very light cut and starting to use just the corner now. Getting a little vibration there. It's really tough because you have to lead the tool more than you think, so because of the radius, to get that corner to be what you're cutting with. It takes a little practice. I hope my head's not in the way. Which I don't, if you can tell how nice the cut when I get right on that corner and I don't get any vibration and I'm not in the center of the tool, I get a super nice cut. But like I said, you have to practice because it's not square, so it's kind of deceiving. So that cut is really nice. I mean, there's a little hump right in here. But the finish coming off the tool right in this section where I got a really nice cut going on is really good. I mean, you could start sanding that section right in there if the whole thing was like that. You could probably start sanding that at 220. And seriously, not here or there, but that right in there is really nice and smooth. I'd like to have it all like that. So let's try another pass, see if we can't get that kind of finish everywhere across the top here. Getting a weird line there, that's weird. So just slow the feed rate way down and concentrate on rolling that tool. And I'm going to jump to the front camera because I want you to see, you won't be able to see the piece, but I want you to see how I'm working the tool. So it's, like say, it's deceiving because I actually have to roll the tool toward me more than I think to get up on that corner. And so with my right hand, I'm pulling the heel of the tool, the handle of the tool around. And it felt like I was dropping the handle there a little bit. And see, if you bobble at all, you end up with a line, of course. That's what they made sandpaper for. Okay, so that, I mean, that's pretty cool. And I'll pop you back into the overhead so you can see that and not the mess of me. And let's see, we're here on 7 for the program there. All right, that's the end. Oh, that's the end, and come on, change. It's end and open. There we go. It's confusing when I look at the live monitors in here and then the Facebook feed out there. All right, I'm going to come back down in here and take a hump out. And I've got an idea. Just ordered the brass insert rings for urns, vessels, anything like that. The 2-piece from stainless steel bottle stoppers that you may have seen out at SWAT or Lancaster. And I've got a bunch of them on the way. And I had some test ones here, but I've got the actual product on the way for the store. And I might make a piece, make a little, that's why I left this hole small. I might make a little cap for this out of the new knurled brass rings. Somebody forgot to lock down their tool rest. Let's try this left-handed. Probably how I got the thing in the first place. This little hump. So I'm trying to look out across. I got it reversed here. Hang on. There we go. So Michael, when I get you dialed in and hooked up into the NDI system here, you can switch the cameras for me, so that when I have them wrong and don't know it, that'll be cool. And what I may do, I think I'll make this pass, and then I know it's carbide, but I'm gonna rotate this cutter for a super fresh edge. So if I'm lucky, I can just keep right on going all the way down this with this cut. If nothing else, it's great practice for your tool control. Ease up on our chuck. Make sure we don't touch it. Ow, man, that thing got hot. So we got, see, as I keep going, we get more and more burl, which is the whole idea of this whole project. Now I've got it cut out of shape a little bit. What time are we looking at here? 2:48. Okay. I'm going to rotate this cutter. I know you think I'm crazy, but I need to take a little bit out of this section right up in here. Now, I hate it when my battery dies. Well, thanks for joining us. Of course, you can find, the whole replay is available. You're on Facebook. Go over to YouTube to catch the replay. It's a better feed. Did I turn that or did it not turn? I'm going to turn it again, just to be sure. His tool is super hot. And I wasn't even leaning on it and it's hot. Okay, so we're going to come up. I'm going to come up towards the top. I got a little swale in this, if you will. Which will also should bring us some more wood. So I left this top area, quite large, so that I could always adjust to it. And just, I can always make this smaller. I can't make it bigger once I take it away. But if I leave it there and want to take it away to change the profile a little bit, I can always come back. And so that's what we're doing now. I'll have to stop right there because I'll have to move my tool rest. Good deal. And I can see right here, there's burl there. I can see burl right under the resin there. So let's go ahead and take some of this, some more. Again, we want as much of this wood showing as we can get. Restream says, congratulations, you've earned 100 messages. Okay. All right, what'd you say there, Jeff? I use my skews so much every time I grab a carbide tool, and out of habit, the skew tool on the something on the shake. I can't quite read it from that far away. I'll have to check that after the fact, Jeff. I'm dangerous with a skew. So we want to take some more of this away. We want to try and get that last little bit of burl that was hiding underneath the resin there. We want to try and get that to appear. So I'm just going to cut this whole corner down a little bit. And I'm in the middle of the tool, so I'm getting vibration, and that's okay because we'll come back and clean it up. I think what I just gained was this. This was what was hiding before. It was either this or this. Again, our goal is, if we had 50-50, 50% burl and 50% resin, Facebook says, user says, which is harder, the stabilized burl or the resin? The stabilized burl is actually harder. Stabilizing resin is harder. In my experience with the best value of Axe resin, stabilizing resin that I use and sell, is harder than the epoxy. Now this burl didn't take much resin, but the burl is quite hard. So it's kind of funny, you go through all that work to make a real nice smooth surface earlier with those finish cuts, and then you decide to change, takes more material away. But that's alright, because we're getting more burl out of the deal. So I took a pretty heavy cut coming around the corner, so I'm going to make a couple slow steps there. And then blend this all in. There we go. And it's like it never ending because I can see more burl down there. Right there, I can see more wood. You know, so do I chase it? When do I stop? Where do I stop? So on and so forth. Yes, before you stabilize anything, Rory, you want to make sure it's good and dry, because if you have moisture in it, it's going to bubble on you and give you a false reading. You want the moisture out of it. And if the burl is porous, the stabilizing resin will help clean it up and fill it in. So I'm going to come right here and change this top now. So I'm going to change camera angles. I'm going to swap on you. Yeah, it needs to be dry, dry. Like it doesn't lose any more weight on the gram scale dry. It's starting to look like a map of a strange world, the continents, which is pretty cool. All right, let's clean up this top again a little bit. I guess it looks like, because I'm about to run out of time. Not that I haven't gone long before, but it is 3 o'clock. That's not too bad. Again, I'm looking at the opposite side of the piece now. Ran out of tool rest. That's beautiful. That's cool. Stop right there and redo my tool rest again. The corner came out pretty nice. There's a little hump right here, just a little ridge. Now, famous last words, if I can make a cut all the way down this thing and keep this finish that I've got going, I'll be very happy. And let me switch cameras back now, go there and there. Again, I'm cutting with the corner of this radius cutter, not the face, not out in the middle of it. You can see when it changes that, ow, it's hot. when I lost the angle, I got that little mark. So I'm kind of in my own way, but I'm going to go a little bit further because I'm not nearly as adept left-handed. Felt like I'd have to change hands. I got a little overzealous there. So we got a couple passes we have to make here. So I'm not going to worry about those lines because I'm actually going to remove a bit of material here. Which is good for the burl. Just more work for me. And you can see the burl dust on my hand and the cutter there. I'm learning not to touch that cutter to clean it off with my hand because it's really hot. And I'm going to make one more pass and then I'm going to rotate this cutter again. So we keep, the more I go, the more wood we get. Now I just have to clean this up. Taking one more pass and then I'll change the cutter. Got a little bit more shaping to do here. Because I've changed the profile again when I came around the corner there. So I'm actually taking a pretty heavy cut right now. So I'm making a fairly major change to the shape. And that's all wood there almost. Gotta stop. Come back up because I have a pretty heavy lip there. That is one of the nice things about the square / radius cutters is you can cut with the side, which is really what I'm doing now. I'm not just cutting with the corner, I'm actually cutting with the side of the cutter. You know what I could do here? Let that one rest a second. I can switch back over to the round for because of what I've got going on. And if I decide to leave a little curve like that, then the round cutter is the one I need in there anyway. All right. I'm liking that more and more. All right, I think that is the basic shape, and I'm gonna get out of my mask here. That's headed for beautiful. Needs some cleaning up, but let's throw some denatured alcohol on here and see what this guy looks like. So you can just imagine that sanded and polished. Well, it'll be sanded and lacquered. I'm a fan of lacquer. I want this to be shiny. There's a lot of color coming out of the burl there. I get a fresh paper towel here. We'll get this thing all loaded up with a little bit of fluid. So you can see our pearls. You don't see the glitter. Yeah, I do. I can see the glitter, and I don't know if you guys can see the glitter because of the sheen or not. But there's little sparkles in it. Beautiful burl wood in here. And again, it was such a weird shape. And as I said, you know, when we started, it's hard to determine in a piece like this which is more important, or how do you get an aesthetically pleasing shape when you're trying to expose the wood and have the resin be part of the program, but maybe not the entire program. So it's you have to strike a balance. You have to strike a balance between the two criteria. All right, and if I invert this, you can see it from the end. And we can pull this out of here now. We'll pull the tailstock. Excuse my arm there. And so you can see that, got chips all over. You know, I can hollow this out and leave all this top if I wanted to. It just takes practice, Dutchman. Practice and time, patience. But so, you know, I can, if I wanted to make a little finial cap for this, so I drilled an 1.5-inch hole, and the smallest brass ring that's available is 1.5 inches. And I could hollow this guy out through this 1.5-inch hole. Now that's going to be a fair bit of work. And then make a little cap that would thread on if I wanted to, just for aesthetics, or I could make a bigger hole. I could open it up into a hollow form. But if I open this up as a hollow form, then we lose all this. So I think it needs to stay with as small a hole as possible. All right, and we've got great character going on here. I'm going to put a little more juice on it, and then we're going to wrap this up. Rich, are you out there? Is this something like what you had in mind? Are you still at your desk? Is that suiting your taste? Did we do your burl justice? That's the end, and we'll flip flop again. So this, you know, I'll sand this up and lacquer it. You're my burl now. All right. Yeah, Dutchman, I'm pretty sure I've seen yours. I've seen some of your bowls, I know. Okie dokie. Well, gosh, it's 310, 311. I think pop up here, get rid of that, clean up this mess. I've had fun. I've had a great time. I know you can't see this now in the gray, but you've seen it enough as we went along. I had a wonderful time today. This was fun. Again, I didn't know how this was going to come out. You know, how much do I keep carving on it, and what happens to the shape? That's always the question, especially with a piece like this. So I think I'm going to leave it pretty close to where it is. I'll sand it up with our new Indasa sandpaper. It'll sand up really quick, and get some lacquer on it. And if I don't, here's the beauty: if I don't take it off the tenon, if I don't get rid of my tenon down here, and I decide I want to change it, hey, I can change it. There's still stuff to be changed, you know, if you want to. The smoky gray looks good through the green screen. Yeah. Oh, that is kind of cool right there. The brown showing up, the wood. That's interesting. So you see. Hey, oh, I see my hair now. By the way, guys, you know that follow. I have yet to get a haircut since the day the lady scalped me at the salon. It hasn't been cut yet. But yeah, that's a cool look there. I'm looking at the screen, so it doesn't get all the gray. Yep, cool deal. Anyway, hey, let's wrap it up. I had a great time. I hope you did too. I appreciate everybody coming by and joining me. I had fun. If you have questions, shoot me an email, Bradley info, contact any of those at spiracraft.com, or find me on Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, any of those. If you got a question about anything, shoot me a note, and be happy to help you out and answer your questions. And I think I'm going to go have some lunch now. So if I can remember how to do this right, I think I did it right the other day. And there it is. Okay, I'll see you guys next week. Thank you very much. And I'll put some stuff in the Facebook column, the group. And I know there's music playing in the background, but I will put some stuff in there about this and some more pictures. Again, I'm talking over the music, but thank you very much, and have a great day and a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.